Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a wonderful day so far. I got a good one for you today. So, it seems like our favorite NDP leader, Jagmeet Singh, came out and gave his view on Donald Trump's U.S. Canada trade tariffs. So, before we get into it, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And with no further ado, let's get into this. So, this is from Global News. Thank you, Global News.
Donald Trump is a clear threat to Canada. His tariff threats are directly threatening hundreds and thousands of Canadian jobs. They also threaten to increase the cost of living at a time when people are already struggling with the cost of groceries and the cost of their bills. So it is serious. We have to take it seriously. And that's why what we've seen again and again has not worked. Going to meet with them, trying to wine and dine them is a failed approach. Donald Trump is not rational. You can't discuss a plan over a meal with him. He is a bully. And bullies understand one thing, that is strength. They also understand pain. So if he wants to pick a fight with Canada, we have to make sure it's clear that it's going to hurt Americans as well. There's going to be pain felt for not just Canadians, but also Americans. And so that's why I'm calling on my plan. We know that the United States needs our critical minerals. They're very important for the United States. So I'm calling on all political leaders to support turning off the taps on those critical minerals. Let's stop the flow of those critical minerals into the States. There's no quicker way to get Donald Trump to back away from tariffs than to shut off the tap on critical minerals, what the states need very clearly. But what is the plan of the other leaders, the other political leaders? We know the Liberals are in disarray, but what about Pierre Poilievre? His plan is literally to do nothing at a time when Canadians are desperately worried about Donald Trump and the threat to Canada. You hear that anywhere you go. If you go out and meet people, they're worried about Donald Trump, they're worried about the threat. And what is Pierre Poilievre proposing to do? Nothing. His literal plan is to do nothing. That is failure in leadership, to do nothing. Well, and we know why as well. We know he's been endorsed by Elon Musk, so he doesn't want to do anything to upset that endorsement. He's been endorsed by a billionaire because Pierre Poilievre is a billionaire bootlicker. Billionaires know that he's going to make them richer. Elon Musk knows that he's...
See, I don't know where he's getting this billionaire bootlicker thing from. And Pierre Poilievre's been bombarded with this weird thing where whenever some guy that the left doesn't like endorses him or even says, oh, yay, I like Pierre Poilievre, they find out his background and they're like, oh, Pierre Poilievre is with the alt-right. Pierre Poilievre is being endorsed by this guy. That means he believes all of his beliefs. And it's like, no, it's not. And if that's the case, then Jagmeet Singh is in cahoots with the WEF, and you'll own nothing and be happy.
He's going to make him even richer. And anytime a politician decides to side with the billionaires, we know what that means for working class people. It means pain for working class. It means cuts to the services that working class people need. It means pain for the middle class. That's what Pierre Poilievre is about. That is a failure in leadership. I put my plan forward. That's what we need. We need leadership to take on Donald Trump. We need strength. And one more thing. For Donald Trump, musing about the 51st state, Canadians have no interest in that. Canadians are proud of our country. We want to fight to defend our country. We're proud of the fact that we take care of our neighbor, that we've got universal health care, and we want nothing to do with becoming a part of the United States. Donc, Pierre Poilievre, je commence.
Yes, and the pinnacle of strength is the NDP government. Well, and the NDP party, which is the bootlickers for the Liberal Party for the last 2.5 years. And Jagmeet Singh shows so much strength that he bows to Trudeau. Who's gonna talk to Jagmeet about anything? Because they know he's just a puppet.
For your questions.
Are you suggesting that premiers and ministers should not do any kind of diplomacy with the incoming administration?
What's become clear is that meeting with Donald Trump does nothing. Ask Daniel Smith. She met with them, she tried to wine and dine them, and she came back and said, yep, there's definitely tariffs coming. So clearly that approach is not working.
But it's been
that
one
approach
it's been one meeting, sir.
is clearly failed with Donald Trump. That Donald Trump only understands one thing, and that is force. We have to show that if he's going to pick a fight with Canada, it's going to hurt Americans as well. That's the only thing that he understands.
But this has been like one.
Yeah, the person who asked this is totally right. It's only been one meeting. You can't really get much out of one meeting, and I hope that Daniel Smith goes down to Mar-a-Lago a lot more, because Alberta does do a lot of trade with the United States, and our federal government is so incompetent that she pretty much has to do that, which is sort of ridiculous, because that's the federal government's job, not our province's job. And this dumb turn off the taps, turn off the minerals thing, that's if all else fails. That's like, if shit hits the fan, then that's the last resort. We don't want a trade war with the United States, because guess who's probably going to lose that war? That's Canada. I'm sorry to say, but the U.S. has more people, more manpower, and our government, or their government, has more willingness to actually drill baby drill than we do. And Trudeau's government has shown that. Now, Pierre Poilievre's government, when they get in, it might be totally different, but I'm not gonna say anything about that yet, because it hasn't happened, and I don't want to tempt fate.
Should she be turning the taps off on oil exports? Where are you on turning off the taps or restricting oil exports to the United States?
When I was in law school, I learned that when you're in a fight or when you're in a legal battle, you don't put out all your tools right at once. You escalate step by step. So that is a tool that should be on the table, but not something we start with. I'm proposing we start with critical minerals, but we need to look at every option. Every response to the tariffs that could hurt Canadians in a serious way should be met with tariffs in kind, and all solutions that we can propose should be on the table, and that's absolutely one of them.
So he just quite literally first said, "Oh no, that's going to be our last resort, is turning off the taps and all that." And then right after said, "Oh, our first thing is going to be turning off critical minerals." What is it, Jagmeet? And he's saying, yeah, there's no point in going down to the U.S. and talking to Donald Trump. Well, great. Yeah, let's not have a communication between our biggest trade partner.
I was talking with premiers about retaliatory tariffs on Wednesday. Would you rather see targeted tariffs or more broad-based action like the Americans are putting on Canada?
I think we need to be very strategic about our response. So we need to look at a step-by-step response that meets the tariffs in kind and that escalates the pressure that we're putting on the United States. That's why I propose starting with one thing like critical minerals, and then we can expand on that and build on that. But we need to look at how we have a response plan that goes step by step, that increases the pressure on the United States to make it clear to Donald Trump, if he picks a fight with Canada, it's going to hurt the United States as well. And it's why, again, I want to point out that that while Donald Trump is threatening Canadians, Pierre Poilievre's plan is to do nothing, to sit back and literally do nothing, because he's been endorsed by Elon Musk. He doesn't want to upset that endorsement, so he's got no interest in defending Canadian jobs.
Have you picked up the phone to call in?
Just because a politician is endorsed by a millionaire doesn't mean he believes in the same thing. Doesn't mean Pierre Poilievre believes in the same thing that Elon Musk does. Like when Elon Musk came out and said he endorsed Pierre Poilievre right after said, well, that's awesome. Elon Musk should start building some Tesla factories which build the most electric vehicles in Canada so we can ramp up Canadian jobs. Pierre Poilievre's done nothing to deserve what Jagmeet Singh has been saying. And I hope that the Conservatives go after the NDP on some of these things that they're saying about him, because it's getting pretty close to being slander. So, in my opinion, remember, I'm just a dude who reads stuff on the internet. It's just all my opinion.
Anyone in the States?
We have set up a number of meetings that are going to be happening soon. I'll let you know about them when they happen.
Who are you meeting with? Is it governors, business leaders? Because Mr. Poilievre has said that ministers here and others should be picking up the phone and making this case to their American counterparts. Who are you making this case to?
We'll let you know when we have those meetings set up.
Can I ask you about the election we're about to
For sure. And I just want to finish up, though, and I'll answer that question, then we'll wrap it up. But I want to be clear. Pierre Poilievre does not have, his plan is literally to do nothing. He's been asked about it again and again, and his plan is, no, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything until an election. At a time when Canadians are desperately worried about the impact on their jobs, their cost of living, he is saying he's going to do nothing. Let's be clear. He is not interested in defending Canadian jobs because he doesn't want to upset Elon Musk, who's endorsed him. He's a bootlicker for billionaires. That's who Pierre Poilievre is.
Can I just ask you?
So, Jagmeet, you're saying that you're going to do all of this stuff, but you're not talking to anybody in the U.S. about it. That does not make sense at all. Even though, like I said, nobody would talk to the NDP because they're not even going to be leader of the opposition. They'll just be... Who knows if he'll even win his seat. But the reason why Pierre Poilievre isn't coming out right now and saying anything about what he's going to do about the tariffs that Donald Trump says he's going to bring in is because A, he's not the prime minister yet, and I mean, it's not 100% sure that he's going to be prime minister, and right now he's leader of the opposition, which he has no power to do anything about Trump's tariffs. So on the off chance that he does lose in the next election, he still won't have any power to do anything. So why would he come out and blow his top off like this guy and start rambling on about trade wars with the United States and then be laughed at or be targeted by the Liberals during their election campaign? It would be stupid.
About the ballot question. Last week, Poilievre said wants to make it the carbon tax. I wonder, as you appeal to voters in French Canada and in English Canada, is it the same ballot question? What will New Democrats be really zeroing in on in the election we're going to have this spring?
Well, I think it's clear that one of the things that's evolving in the ballot question is the threat of Donald Trump. You hear that everywhere you go. People are really worried about what this means for their jobs, what this means for cost of living, what those tariffs could mean for grocery prices, for everyday bills. That's becoming more and more a serious question. And in general, the cost of living question is one that's top of mind for Canadians. They're worried about how much everything costs. Salaries have not kept up. They're worried about grocery prices. They're worried about homes and not being able to afford a home. And more and more, Pierre Poilievre seems out of touch, not responding to the real issues of the day, the threat of Donald Trump, the threat of those tariffs on Canadians and on their lives. And that's why we're going to continue to fight for Canadians, say, whenever that election happens, we're going to be ready for it. But in the meantime, we're not going to give up. We're going to fight to protect Canadian jobs. We're going to fight to protect our country. That's something that Pierre Poilievre has shown clearly a failure in leadership. Thanks so much.
I don't understand why the NDP is going after the Conservatives so much. I know the Conservatives are winning and they have so many votes, but you'd think they'd at least talk about the Liberal Party, because that's where a lot of their voter base is going to come from. The NDP is a leftist party, and a lot of Liberal voters right now who are still thinking of voting Liberal are probably leftist voters. So you'd think you want to take a dig at the Liberal Party. But no, it's all about Pierre Poilievre. It's all about Pierre Poilievre. But what do you think? Do you think Jagmeet would be a good leader to go up against Donald Trump? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, if you're not already subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. I'm hoping to get around 700 subscribers by end of January. And give her a like as well if you liked the video. Other than that, have a great day.